Hi, I'm Laura Brandenburg, the creator of Bridging the Gap. And today I want to talk about a really important concept of stakeholder engagement, and specifically how to cultivate those relationships with your stakeholders as a business analyst. Because when you do this, they tend to be more willing to answer your questions, show up to your meetings, review your requirements document, and your entire business analysis process goes so much more smoothly. So you really want to pay attention to investing in those stakeholder relationships. It's an area where kind of a little tiny bit of investment has a huge result long term. We're going to talk about 3 different things that you can do to do this. And specifically, this question came from Natasha, and Natasha said, hey, I've cornered my stakeholder, and what 3 things should I share with them about business analysis? Well, I've got the answer to that question, Natasha, and I think it's going to be a little bit different than you might think. So, first thing you want to do is share what you do briefly. So just kind of let them know, hey, my name's Natasha. I'm the business analyst on your next project. And, this is what I do as a business analyst. I'm going to be the one making sure we're solving the right problem, writing the requirements documents, and really facilitating that communication between business and technology. That might not be your exact description, but make sure you have just like a one-liner description about what you do. Now, you might think you want to drill into the detail there. My advice is actually different than that. From there, you want to ask a question. Make this a conversation. You don't really want to corner your stakeholders. You want to engage them in conversations. And what you're doing here is you're demonstrating that as their business analyst, you are going to ask them questions and you are going to listen to the answers, and it starts with that very first conversation. So ask them a question, what's your biggest concern about this project, or what's the biggest benefit? What's the juicy thing that we could really accomplish in this project, and what would that mean to you and your department? Get them talking about the project and then paraphrase back what you hear to really show that you understood their answer. Now, that's probably going to create an opportunity for you to share something else about what you do, but now you can share it in the context of how you can help them with their concern or their project or their benefit. And when you do that, you can now drill into a little bit deeper about what it is you do as a business analyst. Like, oh, hey, you mentioned that on your last project, a lot of things changed at the last minute and it didn't become nearly as effective as, the solution wasn't nearly as effective as you would have hoped. Well, one thing I can do is when we get to that part of the project, really engage you in the changes that come up and make sure we've got our business process documented really, really well and facilitate that kind of communication. Would that be helpful to you? And again, you're asking another question to keep this very, very conversational. All right, so we've talked about sharing what you do, but briefly, we've talked about asking questions and creating a conversation and then following up with another specific example of what you can do in the context of how it's going to help your stakeholder. The last thing that you want to do is create an opening for a conversation. So, we don't necessarily want to corner people and make them feel like if I go to, Natasha's meeting or Laura's meeting, like I'm never going to get out. She's just going to keep telling me things and asking me questions and I'm never going to get to leave, right? So you want to get them to engage with you and get what would be called like a micro commitment about the next step. So, hey, it's been really great having this conversation. I'm glad we got to connect. I'd love to share a little bit more about what I do or talk a little bit more about the concerns that you have about this project. Like, here, could we schedule another meeting to talk about this further? Or my next step is going to be to schedule a group discussion and I want to make sure that you're involved. So look out for that email. Do you think you'll be able to attend? So you just want to get that next commitment about the next step. You want to commit to following up or acknowledging their time in some way. And then you can also then follow up after the fact, which is going to demonstrate that you are the kind of person that follows through on your commitments. So through that thread of the conversation, you're really demonstrating a lot of different things about about how you're going to show up for them as a business analyst, and you're showing them instead of telling them, right? So you're asking questions and you're listening to the answers and you're showing that you understand. And then you are also making a commitment, asking for their permission, following up on that commitment, following up on what you said you're going to do. And that kind of approach is going to build a really solid foundation for a really strong stakeholder commitment. So Natasha, you're on a great spot that you're thinking about this ahead of time. And for anyone else listening in, think about one thing you could do this week to cultivate a better stakeholder engagement, a better stakeholder relationship, and really engaging those stakeholders in the business analysis process and in your project, because that's going to make your projects run more smoothly. It's going to make it easier for you to do the things that you need to do and get the decisions made that are going to make your projects more successful. So again, my name is Laura Brandenburg. I'm the creator of Bridging the Gap, and thanks for being here.